Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video. So Nintendo just wrapped up their Nintendo Direct for September 12th, and I'm hot off the presses here. I just got done watching it, and I wanted to make this video to give you guys my initial early impressions on what we saw. This was a big Direct for Nintendo. Mario's 40th anniversary. It's the first major Direct since the Switch came out to kind of like get us all hyped as to why we bought a Switch 2. Like, show us the come out swinging, Nintendo, with the big stuff. Show us why we bought a Switch 2, the awesome games that are coming down the pipeline. Yeah. So this Direct definitely had some highlights, some really surprising things in it, like the Virtual Boy is coming back, but I'll get to that in a second. But overall, I felt like this was in terms, if I had to rate it out of 10 for like the excitement of, oh man, this is why we bought a Switch 2. Look at what's coming down the line. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. There was very little shown where I'm like, look at that. Like, this is finally Nintendo has the power of a new current gen console in their hands for graphics and everything. They didn't show nothing. And everything they already showed we kind of knew about. Prime 4, which is also coming to Switch 1. But even like any of the Switch 2 games they showed, nothing like wowed me visually. If I had to rate it based on the overall presentation, in terms of like just all the announcements, all the surprises, a 4 or 5 out of 10. So they started off by talking about the 40th anniversary for Mario. I really thought they were going to come out with something big, right? This is the 40th anniversary for Super Mario Brothers. And they pretty much told us that they hung up a few new pictures at the Nintendo Museum in Japan. Then, Nintendo World is still, still around. Go visit it. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 re-released again, I guess for Galaxy 1 at least. Who knows what they're going to charge for that? The thing about Nintendo is they're very tricky. They show us these things, but they don't tell us the price. So, like, it's hard to get excited when we don't know how much this compilation for Galaxy 1 and 2 will cost. And that's a big factor, right? Because most people already have Galaxy. They may already have the All-Stars version that released on Switch. So the reason to buy this is Galaxy 2, but how much are they charging for it? $30, $40, $70? We don't know. Nintendo keeps a lot of this stuff secret so that when I make videos like this and other people, we can get really hyped up like, guys, Mario Galaxy 2 finally got an HD release. But they don't tell us the price initially, so that way we can't counter the hype with the potential disappointment of the price of these things. That's just how Nintendo does things. It was like the theme of this Direct, with not telling us much about pricing on anything. And they get very excited when they announce new paid DLC for things, and they don't tell you how much it is either. But we'll get to that more later. Overall, I thought the 40th anniversary announcements were disappointing. The Mario movie, whatever, we knew that was coming. The surprise with that, though, is that it's a Galaxy Mario movie, which was, I don't think anybody saw that coming. After seeing that announcement, I seriously thought we were going to see Mario Galaxy 3 announced. Like, just a little teaser as, like, the next big 3D Mario game coming on Switch 2. I still would not count that out as a potential thing in the future, since they're really leaning heavily into Galaxy. They're naming the Mario movie Galaxy, the Mario Galaxy movie. They could have called it the Super Mario Brothers movie 2 or something like it, but they didn't. So Galaxy 3 still hopeful. They also announced, as part of the Mario 40th anniversary, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which I seriously thought was about to be a new Yoshi story game, but then I quickly realized that it's more of like an adventure game, which I'm okay with. The graphic style is nice. It's got this sort of like stop motion look to it. Probably one of the most exciting things they announced in the whole Direct. Even though my excitement level isn't like 10 out of 10 for it, it was still nice and different. Not a 2D platformer per se. It looks like more of an adventure experimental kind of game. So we'll have to see how that goes. Overall, though, it looks great. I'm just going to skip to the stuff that I care about. There was a lot of stuff in this presentation that doesn't, like, I either never played the series and didn't care about. I'm just going to talk about the few things here that really stood out to me. So the next thing that really stood out was Kirby Air Riders. Now, I hadn't seen gameplay for Air Riders yet. I actually skipped the Direct they did. So the little glimpse that they showed there was actually the first time I saw it. Looked cool. Very brief glimpse. But what I wanted to point out here, shout outs to Skylanders, because Kirby Air Riders just ripped you off. This should be called Kirby Swap Force, not Kirby Air Riders, because they took their amiibos and they did the exact thing that Skylanders did, where the characters have like, you level up the characters as you play with the amiibo on your console, just like a Skylander, and then you can swap them between vehicles. It's Skylanders Swap Force, crazy, or like whatever that racing one, Superchargers, whatever that was called. They ripped off Skylanders so hard. It's just so funny. Skylanders deserves more credit. Hopefully one day we see it come back, but I don't think it's hopeful. Uh, Virtual Boy is back. This was the big announcement. This was the announcement worth waking up for to see this thing in the morning. Um, I've always been really mad at Nintendo for squeaky mic stand. I've always been mad at Nintendo for not releasing Virtual Boy on the 3DS. I mean, it was just so obvious to release a physical game with all the games that they can get on there, all the licensed games, like whatever, leave out a few, whatever they had to do. They never did it. It would have been perfect on the 3DS. They never did it. And they've barely acknowledged the Virtual Boy all these years. So to see them come back with this now is shocking. For those of you that aren't aware what this is, it's going to be 14 games, US games and Japanese games. The US games that are missing from this getting released are Waterworld, Panic Bomber, and Nestor's Funky Bowling. I might be missing one, but I think those are the three. And then, of course, a bunch of the Japanese games. I'm surprised we're getting any of them, to be honest with you. And it's going to be, you have to have a paid Switch Online subscription to get access to these games. Based on what we have seen in this trailer, it's probably not playable on your TV. I could be wrong. If it is, that would be neat. There's a reason to kind of get it then. Otherwise, it's you play with the handheld, handheld mode on the Switch 2, and they're going to sell a unpriced. There's no price released on this thing yet. Like literal Virtual Boy that you slot the Switch 2 into the Virtual Boy and you use it as like a stereoscopic 3D. How good the 3D is going to be, who knows? Probably not as good as the actual Virtual Boy. How much this thing costs though? I mean, Nintendo, this is the thing. They want me to make a video, like people like me to make a video being like, guys, get super hyped. Virtual Boy's got a new accessory. It's coming back. The games are coming back. But they're not telling you how much you got to pay for this accessory. That thing ain't going to be cheap. I would be shocked if that is under. I mean, I can imagine it being 80 if they're being generous, but I'd be shocked if it's under $100. That thing does not look cheap. I'm assuming like $119.99 or something like that. So to ask somebody to go out and buy an accessory that expensive, potentially more, we don't know yet, they haven't said, for an online service with just 14 games, I mean, that's a big ask. That is why they also showed the cardboard attachment that you can put over your Switch 2. It slots over the front of the Switch, so you play your Virtual Boy like this. Like literally like this. Now, the technology in that, I don't know how it's going to display the 3D, like what they're going to be using. I'm sure it's something very simple. What are they going to charge for that piece of cardboard? $20, $30, $40, $50? How are you going to get these? Are they going to be limited? Are they going to sell out and be scalped online real quick? We don't know. There's a lot of questions here. I'm glad the Virtual Boy is back in some capacity. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure this was the best way to do it in terms of like having to have a subscription. It would have been nice to have a nice physical cart with all the games on there. I mean, understandably, some of the licenses they couldn't get, okay, but that means this will cease to exist one day when Nintendo's online service eventually doesn't offer these things anymore. But am I excited for it? It's cool. But I already have a Virtual Boy with the full game library. I can one day get my Virtual Boy modded so I can play it on my TV anyway. So it's like, I'd pretty much be getting it just to let you guys know how it is, how it compares to the real Virtual Boy. Anyway, other games that were announced, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. That's a new one. We're used to remake, remaster being the subtitles of games. Reimagined, that's an interesting one. I guess that means that it's going to be a completely reimagined version of the game. In other words, don't get your expectations up for this to 100% follow Dragon Quest VII all the way. I'm kind of excited for this because I have never played Dragon Quest VII. It's just such a long game. All the games I play, I stream. I just couldn't see myself streaming a game that's like 80 plus hours. It's a very long game. And I didn't do the 3DS version. So this looks like a great way to play 7 for the first time visually. Perhaps if they trim it down, like cut out a lot of the fat and kind of like make it a nice, robust 40-hour RPG, 50-hour RPG. Just something a little bit more digestible. I might be interested. So that was a nice surprise. I don't think anybody saw that one coming. The next crazy game, like this was, I was just joking around when they showed this. I'm like, oh great, Ditto's getting his own game. Ditto is literally getting his own Pokemon game. Pokemon Pokopia, which is a really weird and hard to pronounce game. You're going to play as a human Ditto that shapeshifts using Pokemon powers to farm and build a village and build houses for your Pokemon, and it looked weird. Koei Tecmo is apparently helping them out with this, and it's one of the strangest games I think I've it's probably the new strangest Pokemon game ever. And I like strange, I like weird. I will probably try this just because of how different it is. Um, but it was one of the more memorable games that were announced, even though I think the visuals look really outdated and bad. This does not look like something that is a Switch 2 game. Like, obviously, it's probably going to be on Switch 1 as well. But I had to mention it. It was just too different, too weird. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention, I mean, they showed other things, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, okay, new trailer for Resident Evil 9, cool, that's nice. You know, there were a lot of trailers that were shown, but like the last thing that I want to focus on here is paid DLC was out of control. So many announcements for paid DLC, and in the Nintendo way, they get really excited. They're like, and get excited, guys, for paid DLC coming soon. Only Nintendo could do this. Only Nintendo can try and like condition people to get excited for the announcement of paid DLC. Like, I mean, it is what it is, right? DLC like helps future development of coming games, and you know, it's like games as a service. I'm not against paid DLC, but I just find it so funny how Nintendo tries to hype up the fact that it's paid DLC. But the craziest thing to me was Pokemon Legends ZA. They're announcing paid DLC before the game is even out. At least wait until the game launches to be like, all right, guys, we got some paid DLC coming down the line. They're like, no, you pre-order this now. Give us your money now. The game ain't even out yet. This is essentially how we get $100 games, right? Games are launching at $70, and they're announcing paid DLC, which is probably going to be at least $20 before the game is even out. Games are now starting to become, if you want all the content on day one, $90+. It's just crazy. The industry is getting out of control with paid DLC. Nintendo, they present it in a fun, poppy, cheerful way, but man, I really hope this is not a new trend that we see happening where games are announcing paid DLC before the game has even released. Because in my mind, that means the content is pretty much done already, right? Shouldn't it just be in the base game already? Maybe free? Throw us a bone? Anyway, that's my opinion on the Nintendo Direct. Very mediocre, very up and down, kind of, mostly down kind of direct. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. What do you think about the Virtual Boy? What do you think about the games that they showed? Was there anything there that you like, man, people are sleeping on this announcement? Tomodachi Life? I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, he didn't mention it. I never played the first one. This one looks intriguing. It looks really weird. I'll definitely try it. Fire Emblem. I stopped playing Fire Emblem games on the 3DS. I just, I would buy them and never beat them. So why would I keep buying Fire Emblem games if I was never beating them? So the final one last thing trailer just didn't really do too much for me. Though riding an ostrich looked pretty neat. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this direct, and I'll see you in the next video.